Welcome to the Fantasy Fangirls Podcast, where two sisters dive deep into beloved fantasy lore, characters, themes, theories, and more.
I'm Lexi.
And I'm Nicole.
And we are so excited for this final episode on the eve of the Onyx Storm release. Hopefully, as you listen to this, you're only hours away from getting your hands on Onyx Storm. I'm so excited for all of us.
So today's episode is going to be split into two parts. First, we are thrilled to have Khaya Fraites and Gabriel Michael, aka Zaden and Violet from the graphic audio on the show today. Who better to discuss final theories, predictions than the two people who know these characters inside and out? I'm so excited.
Then Nicole and I will wrap up this episode and the end of this pre-Onyx Storm era with our parting thoughts before we read the book we've all been waiting over a year for. And of course, before we dive into our incredible conversation with Khaya and Gabriel, we have to do our spoiler warning. Because we are theorizing for the third book of the Empyrean Series, spoilers for all things books 1 and 2 of the Empyrean Series, Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and we're also going to be bringing in a little bit from the Onyx Storm excerpt from Cosmopolitan. But friends, no multi-chapter preview spoilers here.
We are literally talking to Zaden and Violet, so it's going to get hella spoilery up in here, especially given the end of Iron Flame. So if you have not finished the books, you can go read them, or heck, go listen to the graphic audios because they're freaking amazing, and we will be here when you're done.
Next, we of Fantasy Fangirls are adults who say adult things about adult books. In other words, friends, this podcast is rated R.
We will be asking Khaya and Gabriel to say lines that were chosen by our Discord. And friends, they ain't clean, so please be mindful of those little listening ears.
Additionally, we are so excited to see you at upcoming live events. Tonight, we are partnering with Barnes & Noble for the Onyx Storm Midnight Release Party, and we are so excited. So friends, we will see you in Glendale, Colorado tonight. Then we'll be at Rebecca Yaris's Onyx Storm Tour in Denver, Colorado on February 2nd.
We have so much in store as podcasting partners at Romantasy BookCon, both in LA this February and in Orlando this October.
We'll also be featured guests at Enchanticon in St. Louis, Missouri, August 15th through 17th. And we'll be back at the Dragon Gauntlet in Boyne City, Michigan, September 12th and 13th.
Links to all of these are in the show notes. And we also have on our website a full calendar for more information, tickets, plus our podcast schedule and Fantasy Fan Club virtual events.
Speaking of, if you love Fantasy Fangirls, if you can't wait for this Empyrean journey we're about to embark on together, again, if you are so excited for Onyx Storm and want even more content, plus a community to share this passion with, and so much more, please check out the Fantasy Fan Club, our new official Fantasy Fangirls membership.
We have 3 fan club tiers that you can join. First up, the Cadets, which includes access to our super active Discord, live Q&As from Lexi and me, book clubs, exclusive author interviews, trivia, community events, promo codes for live events, plus 20% off discounted merch. That is for $6 a month. You can also join the Dragon Riders, which includes everything from the cadet level, plus early access to ad-free episodes. Yes, this includes episode 1 of Onyx Storm Deep Dive. You'll also get all of our episode outlines, yes, the 40 to 60 page ones, and special voting privileges. That is for $10 a month. And last but not least, we have the Iron Squad, which includes everything from the first 2 tiers, plus behind the scenes content. You'll probably see Lexi and I in our hotel room losing our minds slowly. You'll also get a welcome gift from Lexi and I, giveaways, private Discord channel, your name shouted out on the podcast, and that is for $25 a month.
Join the party at fantasyfangirls.com/fan club. The link is also in the show notes, and we just appreciate you all so much. We love this community, and we just love this time of year with Onyx Storm. We're so excited!
And now it is time to dive into our final thoughts and predictions with Khaya Fraites and Gabriel Michael. But first, we want to let you know that this show is sponsored by Hungry Root.
When it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, I've got a problem. I don't have time. Like at all. I don't have time. I don't have the brain space, none of it. And that has all changed thanks to Hungry Root. It is the easiest way to eat healthy and save time while doing it, which makes this very busy mama so happy.
This not so mama, I just feel really fancy when I'm using Hungry Root because it's like I have my own personal shopper and nutritionist all wrapped into one. I love that they recommend healthy groceries, meals tailored to your taste, nutritional preferences, health goals. Like for instance, I recently have started incorporating a lot more more gluten-free foods. They do that. They really just simplify planning and executing my nutritional goals, from anti-inflammatory to gut-friendly to gluten-free, like I was saying, dairy-free, high protein, and more.
Hungry Root had me fill out a brief questionnaire to truly customize my experience so it can be tailored to our household. Grocery shopping and meal planning is something that is just never top of mind for me. I know it should be, but it's not. And that is why, again, I love Hungry Root, because it literally delivers these healthy groceries right to my doorstep, complete with recipes. So it's one less big thing for me to think about every single week.
You are going to love Hungry Root truly as much as we do. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/FFG and use code FFG. That's hungryroot.com/FFG, code FFG, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/FFG, code FFG. Welcome, Khaya and Gabriel to the Fantasy Fangirls Podcast.
Oh, we are so excited to have you here today. And yes, please introduce yourselves.
Thanks for having us. I'm Khaya Fraites, and I voice Violet, Soren Gale for graphic audio.
And I'm Gabriel Michael, and I voice Zaden Ryerson.
We're so excited to talk to you all about theories, about predictions, about rapid fires. But first, we want to dive a little bit into this graphic audio world because it is so unique, it's so fun, and so many people are obsessed with it. So we want to hear how you all got involved with graphic audio, because Gabriel, you were in the ACOTAR graphic audios, and then Khaya, this is your first graphic audio?
I've done a few graphic audios, but just as smaller parts. I started working for graphic, I think 2 years ago. I got cast from a casting call they put out on Backstage where they were looking for someone to do children's voices. And I booked a really small part. I think I had literally like 12 lines or something, but they were like, okay, cool, we'll add you to our roster. And they had me like basically record a script with a bunch of different accents, different age groups and stuff to kind of fit like whatever they need, and then they can like listen to them and pull from them whenever they need to cast something. But Fourth Wing is the first thing that I got to narrate.
I love how you were in a children's book and they're like, that sounds like Violet Sorengale. That sounds like R-rated book. Absolutely.
Literally was playing like a 12-year-old boy. And they're like, that's Violet.
Gabriel, how about you?
Yes, I think I joined the company like right at the beginning of 2021. I typed in top 19 audiobook publishers in the United States, just like every other voice actor. And this was the only one that responded to me. And they were like, we're more like a video game house in a way. Does that sound interesting? I was like, yeah. My very first role, I think I was a rubber band man. It was like a superhero book, and he was the principal. His name was Mr. Hand. And then eventually ACOTAR came around, and Miss Colleen Delaney popped into my email, and she was like, Gabriel, we've never officially met. I would love for you to read for this character. And then there was a hyperlink to a very attractive Fey man. I said, okay.
Was it Lucian or was it a different character?
It was Lucian. It was Lucian.
Okay.
My sister screamed because she's a big reader. And I was like, Bubby, she knows all the books. I was like, do you know this book, this series? And she screamed so freaking loud. It was actually just one of those amazing moments, as if I had been in a big movie. I got to have a big celebration, so that was good.
Congratulations too to both of you, just like for how big this has become, and just so excited for you. So I know that you kind of talked about how you got into graphic audio. What was your first introduction to Zaden and Violet?
So when we originally auditioned, Scott McCormick, our director, he didn't give us details on what we were even auditioning for originally. He just kind of gave us like the archetypes, a little rundown, and like an excerpt to read. So he was just kind of like, I have this character I want you to audition for. Think Katniss Everdeen. She's kind of a badass, young character. And I was like, okay, cool. And I'd heard of Fourth Wing at the time, but I hadn't read it. So when I read the excerpt for my audition, I didn't know what it was from. And it was the parapet scene from the beginning of Fourth Wing. And so I was like, okay, cool, sure, yeah. And I just auditioned. And then a few weeks later, he emailed me and was like, okay, you got the part. It's for this little book called Fourth Wing. You may have heard of it. And then sent me the link. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
I knew how big it was because of Book Talk and TikTok and stuff, but I'd never read it. And when I finally did get to read it, I just couldn't put it down. It was so good. I was on vacation in Italy and I literally read the whole thing while I was there, and on the flight back, I was like, oh my gosh, gosh, I like turning the pages so fast. Like
That's a dream right there. Is what that sounds like.
Yes.
yeah.
That's so cool too that you read it for the first time already knowing that you had the part of Violet. So
Yeah.
did that, I'll ask, like change your reading experience, or were you almost like starting to narrate her already in your head?
Kind of. I don't know. I think that like I also listened to the original audiobook, but I think I was the first time I was reading it just trying to get a grasp of like the character and then trying to understand like how I would play her, I think. But the writing is so good that I think that you can kind of interpret it in a lot of different ways and kind of like I feel like I had a lot of room to make Violet my own.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Gabriel, how about you?
I got involved with Mr. Shadow Daddy when Scott, he definitely messaged me an email. He didn't tell me the book. My scene was Zaden's narration all the way at the end of the book. And that's a very tender, emotional part of Zaden's POV, but those were not the descriptors I got. They said, asshole, douchebag, walks around, no, literally, alpha male, like in bold, highlighted, masculine. Literally. I was like, oh, okay. And I did it, and I was like, damn, like, he kind of sounds like an asshole, but I feel like he's talking about some really serious stuff here. Let's do some super sleuthing. I hit up my friend, shout out to Izzy Steele, everyone. She was the one who like gave me all the inside scoop. I was like, what is this excerpt? She goes, baby, this is Zaden Ryerson in Fourth Wing. I was like, cool. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure that's like really big, right? And she's like, Gabriel. And then once I read about it, I wanted to redo my audition. Then I was like, no, did I get this? I did end up getting it. And this goes to show you, like, you never really know. Like, sometimes you get a lot of prep before an audition. Sometimes you get very little. And I almost wonder if they wanted to see if I would just simply play those descriptors, if I would fall into that trap, or if I would bring those and also give him his own life. And so it was a good lesson for me as an actor.
And then I assume, did you read the book and then afterward?
Yes, I started with the audiobook as well, just because for time's sake, that very first title, I think it was a very quick turnaround when
it was very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is 20 something hours. Let's do the audiobook. That had the physical copy for Iron Flame. And I feel like Iron Flame is really where I fully allowed myself as the actor to just immerse myself into that world, to the point where I was very picky about my prep right before I'd go into the booth. I wanted to make sure I was coming straight from something military-wise. So if anyone wants to know, there's a poem called Camouflaging the Chimera by Yusef Komunyakaa, and it's a Vietnam War poem. I always recite it over and over again right before I do a session for Zaden.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Love that
Yeah,
insight.
so
Yes.
What was the poem again? Can you say it one more
It's
time?
called Camouflaging the Chimera by Yusef Komunyakaa.
Well, okay, so this actually kind of brings us into our next question, which is, what is the process for recording graphic? Because we can grasp what it is like for a traditional audiobook, but with so many actors, with the music, with the sound effects, like how does a graphic audio go from start to finish?
So we kind of all record separately with our director, Scott McCormick, and you have to be a really good director to be able to record everyone separately and still make every conversation match and the intention feel there. But Gabriel and I asked if we could record our scenes together because we just really wanted to make it feel like, you know, as intimate as possible, as real as possible. And Scott and Graphic were kind of just like, we've never done that before, but we're open to trying it if you guys want to do it. So for Iron Flame was when we got to record together, and I really think it makes a world of a difference. And also Gabriel and I like did some prep beforehand, just the two of us, just like talking through the motivations of the characters and like really just like establishing that core relationship between Violet and Zaden, because they are the core of the whole series.
Honestly, she's being super humble right now. If y'all enjoy Zaden and thought that he got progressively more sexy and romantic, we owe a lot to Khaya. We got to the group. we were practicing one time one of those intimacy scenes, and I was like, yeah, and she goes, maybe he's a little bit sweeter. I said, yeah, you're right. Which
scene, I have to ask?
Yes.
Do you remember?
I think it was like at the beginning of Iron Flame where like Violet is hurt, but they also like want to fuck.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's okay. Well, that actually perfectly brings me to my next question, because the most popular question we get from anyone when we said, hey, we're interviewing Khaya and Gabriel is, so how do they record the sex scenes? How?
Okay, so I do want to say that, we don't want to give away all of graphics, like tricks of their trade and everything. They work really hard for that business model to give you what they give you. So every director is different and every script is different. The script will typically let you know an intimacy scene and the type of noises or sounds that they would maybe kind of want you to make. They're not always married to that. It's usually good when they're not, when you can kind of find it. For the first book, it was just me and Scott just going through. He's reading Violet, and we're going through the scenes. If Scott felt like, it needed more oomph or something, he would let me know. Or sometimes you just go through a straight series of you map it out. Like, okay, you're going to you're going to fall into the bed. You're going to kiss. Her thighs are going to open wide. You're going down. She's going to grab you. She's going to grab you here. She's going to slap you and you're going to like it. But when we got to do Iron Flame, that's when it was much more organic. I'm sorry if this is weird, Khaya, but it was just much more easier.
No. There's no, trust us, we have had very strange conversations.
No,
yeah. I might be blushing a little bit, but it's all good.
From this actor right here, you have to give it care, and you have to give it the same amount of care that you would give other moments that you would think maybe click, really press in here. Because if you don't, the intimacy will be phoned in. And the best part is when you get to work with a scene partner live, like I did, you get to feel those impulses and speak that conversation. And it actually, I wasn't nervous when I was working with you. Once we started getting into it, I felt like it was easy to put my intention on Khaya. She's such a generous actress. She'll really give you a lot.
I think it is easy to definitely fall into being oh, this is so silly. I would never say this. My house, my chair, my woman. What? I think it's so easy to to give it that and feel that way. But I think that it's important that you have to try to remain as serious as the characters feel, because it is so real to them and it is so intimate to them. And I think in recording together, we were able to find moments that I probably would not have found. I remember there were a couple scenes that were even just sweeter, where afterwards I literally was literally just screaming because Gabriel's so good. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience. I will say for the first book, I do to talk with my hands a lot, and especially when I'm trying to make a point and stuff. Even in the booth, I'm always kind of moving around. And in the first book, when I was recording the armoire scene, I accidentally ripped a piece of foam off of my wall. And I was ooh.
That is method acting is what I call that.
I just needed something to hold on to, But then also, sometimes it is really technical of okay, we're going to do closed mouth kisses and we're going to do this kind of a sound and stuff like that, just so they cover our bases and we have a whole sound library.
No one necessarily wants to hear saliva on a microphone. And so that is tricky. That is really tricky to sell the intimacy without as much of that very necessary sound that happens. But I really like, though, that even though they know it's difficult, they still put detailed intimacy they put the author's intimacy in there that they asked for, and they really do still try to get it. So yeah, who knows what's coming for Onyx Storm, but
I was going to say, I do actually have a question then, since you brought up the author. How much do you guys get to know, whether it's through Scott or from Rebecca herself, do you guys get to have that insight from the author when it comes to graphic audios?
She provides pronunciation guides and stuff like that, and she also was heavily involved in the casting, but we haven't interacted with her much. She's a busy lady.
Yes.
We know.
While we're talking about recording, we reached out to our Discord and we said, what line, if you had to have any line that Khaya and Gabriel could say, what would it be? And we gave them multiple options that were not sexual.
Yes, we gave them options. We gave them some real badass ones, some nice ones,
sky and the power
and you can guess what they all chose. So
who would like to go first?
oh my goodness. Khaya, you go first.
Khaya, would you mind saying that trick you mentioned, with the fingers? Thanks.
Oh, oh my gosh. That trick you mentioned, with the fingers? Thanks.
Yes! That was so good! Oh my God. I just got got chills. All right, Gabriel, which god are you calling out for? Because it's just me and you in this room, and I don't share.
Which god are you calling out for? Because it's just you and me in this room, and I don't share.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh my god, you guys are so talented. Holy shit.
Oh my goodness. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Most voice actors, you ask them to do a character and they'll do it all day for you in impersonations. And I will too if you ask, but I get nervous because, I really have to, I become Zaden when I'm in that booth. Not every role requires such a transformation, but he does. And so I never want to give a fan even a morsel of Zaden that isn't fully Zaden.
That was fully Zaden.
That was Zaden right there. Yes.
That was fully Zaden. Oh my god.
I love you guys.
So good.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Let's move into some rapid fire getting to know you questions here. We promise we'll be getting to theories here shortly here. All right. For both of you, favorite book or series?
You go.
Okay. Great Expectations is my favorite book. And then my favorite series is probably the Baudelaire books, the series of unfortunate events.
Mine is the Legendborn series and also Crescent City.
Oh,
yeah. Crescent City.
Nice.
Favorite TV series or movie?
Scandal. I love look. Zaden for me is like Shamar Moore mixed with Tony Goldwyn, who plays the president in Scandal. Very good energy. So I love me some Scandal.
Okay, my favorite movie changes every season. So right now is Challengers. But it was Past Lives. And also those writers are married. I don't know if that's connected. And then my favorite show consistently my entire life has been Gossip Girl. So I'm going to go with that.
I love it.
Favorite way to read? Physical book, ebook, audiobook, graphic audio?
I want to say a physical copy so bad, but it's just factually incorrect because of the job I do. It's an ebook. It's an ebook for me because I'm always reading online.
I do have to read online a lot for work, but I don't like it. So I'm going to say physical or audiobook because I listen to a ton of audiobooks.
So do we. Most of what we do is listen to audiobooks. And then I really only do my e-reading when we're doing a deep dive for the annotations and things like that. Yeah. If you're a parent of a little one like I am, you also know the struggle of making daily vitamins for kids actually fun. And that is where Khaya has been a game changer for our family. Every single morning, my kids get so excited and they literally recognize the yellow bottle and they point to it on the counter and they want it right away when they wake up.
While most children's vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar and can contribute to a variety of health issues, Khaya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy junk. Yet, it tastes great, even for those little picky eaters.
I also recommend checking out their new kids probiotic and nighttime essentials too.
We've worked out a special deal with Khaya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, go to khayahealth.com/FFG. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to HIYAHEALTH.com/FFG to get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults.
All right, which Bisgayeth quadrant would you be in?
Scribes.
That makes sense as Ravenclaw,
No
yes.
question.
The writers.
Would you survive? Do you think you'd survive?
As Gabriel?
Yes.
As Gabriel.
Oh, I'm an air sign. We take to the sky. We will not.
Incredible.
Love it.
I feel like Lexi and I would at first think scribes, but there is no way I could be as stoic as a scribe would need to be. I would be kicked out in seconds. There's no way.
That's fair.
What dragon would you bond? This is if you went to the Writers'
Ooh,
Quadrant.
okay. Well, I feel like the obvious answer is Taryn and Darna for me.
Oh.
But I also feel like Fierge, Rhiannon's dragon, because I like that she felt like there's just an instant connection. They just knew.
I adore Sigale. So, Sigale's a given. However, I do love Taryn. I really do love Taryn. Taryn is who I would want to play if I wasn't playing Zaden.
Which character are you most like?
I think Violet.
Yeah, that's understandable.
That's
Yes.
extremely understandable.
Yeah, I think because, she wanted to be a scribe. She is a scribe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that she just has a fierceness about, the love she has for the people in her life that I definitely relate to. I feel like I get that fierceness, and I understand her like desperate need to just have everyone be safe that she loves and take care of everyone and just be there for everyone. I think she's very open, or she tries to be very open emotionally, and I think that's a good quality to have when trying to understand people.
I mean, I'm really trying to pick anyone other than Zaden. I'm trying to think who has enough qualities of me. I don't think there's a Gabriel necessarily in this story yet. But I feel like Zaden, like, I'm as blunt as Zaden when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Like, Zaden probably wouldn't do all of the pomp and fluff that I'll do, but like when it's time to really go, Detroit comes out and it's just like, yeah, like we're going to be at this temperature. I love you. We'll talk about it later. I like that.
Wait, can I say what I think you'd be?
Oh, yes, please.
I think you'd be Rhiannon.
Oh, that's good.
Because I feel like Rhiannon, she also has a fierceness. She also cares a lot, but she like also can be very private, and she can like she keeps things that are really important to her close to her chest.
Oh, that's
like,
me. That's me.
Yeah, for sure. Like how her and Violet ran off to go visit her sister in private, and also her relationships, but she's also like just on her shit all the time. That's why she's section leader.
Oh my, Khaya, you really put some. This is perfect.
Yeah, I think that you'd be her.
No wonder you guys are so close.
Yes.
I know. I'm blown away. Like, honestly, so like Khaya is so adventurous, and she always has so many fun things to do. And anytime I'm messaging her, I'm always like, I'm coming in at 1,000. I'm like, what are you doing, Khaya? Yada yada. However, even though that is my energy, she will often be like, do you want to do this? And I'm like, I'm kind of disappearing from society for a month. I'll tell you later when I come back. And she always gives me that space.
Wait, who is this cat?
So
because
much.
hi.
I know,
Right? I love
furry
your friend cat there. What's your cat's name?
Albert.
Oh, I love it.
He's so cute.
What is your favorite thing about Zaden and Violet? Make it harder.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna start with Violet. I love how she chases every bone like Nancy Drew. You know, like she really does. And Khaya does such a good job with chasing that. You know, you could get another narrator on this book and Violet may be more passive, but if there is any action verb to be played, she's going to play it. And I enjoy that about her. Yeah, you know.
Oh, thanks. I think my favorite thing about Zaden is I guess it's kind of both of them, but like my favorite thing about Zaden is like the unspokenness that he has with Violet. Like they're always just on the same page, and it could just be a look, or it doesn't even have to be a look. She could just know. Like she could, like, I know that they are like, they can feel each other, telepathy and everything, but like I feel like that's just like, it's so attractive because it's like, yeah, we do want you to read our thoughts. We
Yes,
do.
yes.
We actually, that's actually a requirement. But I just love it. Like I love that they move as one when they need to.
Yes. Oh,
and
sexy.
like they never have to like question like what the other is prioritizing or doing when it comes down to battle, and it comes down to like defending each other over someone else, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And yes, my favorite thing about Violet is just her determination. My dad always says persistence beats resistance, and I feel like that is Violet to the core. Like she never gives up, even when she's physically fucking broken.
Yeah,
she will just like it's just a flesh wound, and get up and just keep fighting.
Bones sticking out. Meanwhile,
yeah. It's like blood spurting out of her collarbone and her. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Yes.
I'm trying to think. For Zaden, I always say that he comforts me when people ask me about like, why do I like Zaden? And he just does. Because he is. It's the bluntness that I talked about earlier, combined with the unspoken thoughts. You know, he doesn't have to break everything down. Now, there are the secrets that Violet is on his case about, but for the most part, by and large, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to explain those things, but he knows that they are not lost on Violet. I also highly respect his military prowess.
All right, last rapid fire question here for you. What is your favorite quote from the Empyrean series?
Other than the ones we obviously made you guys do earlier.
Yes,
obviously.
yes.
My favorite non-sexy quote, I think, is in Iron Flame, when General Atos like gets a first year to go after Violet, and he ends up. Are we allowed to do spoilers? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Spoiler away.
Okay, and he ends up killing Nadine, and in that moment, like everything kind of just like clicks for her of like how intense everything is, and she's like, no one interfere. Like she just jumps right into action, and she's like, I'm Violet Soren Gale, like come at me. Like I love that moment for her. I think it really like encapsulates like a little bit of her loss of innocence because it just happened so quickly, but also just like her fierceness and like her not being afraid to be who she is after she's literally spent a whole other year of people trying to kill her for her name. And now she's like, no, like this is who the fuck I am.
I have a couple. So I love the line, and I think it's in Iron Flame, the line he has when he talks about the first year and then the second year is where I felt that moment in the booth too so much with you, Khaya. It was just really good. Those stark. I love all the lines that describe their world and their given circumstances, their particular brand of trauma that they have to deal with, and to hear Zaden just spit it out so quickly, like, yeah, everyone knows this. The first year this, and the second year is this. Quiet as it's kept. But then Rebecca Yarros has these lovely, lovely periodic sentences where the most important information is at the end, and you really got to go through it. And it's when he's describing, it's a sentence that ends in the quiet city or the quiet town of Orisha beneath us. That whole section, it's just, that was the first time, and it was towards the end of that process because it was the narration. I really sat back and I was like, it's all for her, everything for her. And I don't know. If everyone gets back to that section, it's a beautiful section of the narration, both in the text as well. Anything that's going to describe landscape is like an author is going to get like high points for me. I spent a lot of time in the South, and like people in the South, they know that land very well. So when you describe the buildings and the stone and the quiet town of Orisha beneath us, it speaks to like those like childhood stories that like my parents would read that talked about land. And
Yeah.
I feel like we're absolutely getting that in Onyx Storm as we're expanding into Boromir, which, speaking of which, should we get into some theories, friends?
Yes.
Let's do it. So we have to start with the biggest question that is on everyone's minds for a year plus, and that is, what do you both think Violet's second signet is? Because we know it manifested in Iron Flame, and the clues are apparently all there, and Rebecca has said it's meant to be obvious and egg on all of our faces, because at least Lexi and I, because I have no idea if there's...
That's not true. You have a hill you're willing to die on.
I do have a hill I'm willing to die on. However, when I say it's like, that's the obvious choice, I'm not sure about that. We also do know that signets manifest based on who the writer is at their core and what they need most. What do you all think Violet's second signet is?
I don't know. I think it might have something to do with resurrection.
Oh. Okay.
Or like maybe not full resurrection, but maybe like back from the brink. I don't know. I feel like she maybe can bring people back before they cross over or something. I don't know.
So there is a theory that if their things are not all burned for Malik, so like for instance, Liam, his letters were not burned at Lilith Sorengale. There's apparently some letters that she hasn't burned. Papa Sorengale's research, work, and Lyra's journals. Those are the types of people that will say like Malik will basically be like, here you go. You can have a conversation with them. However, the only thing I will say, like with the caveat here, is I think it was in Brisbane. Someone was like, "Hey, like, is Violet's second signet being like I see dead people, basically being with Liam?" And she was like, "No, it's not." And I was like, "Motherfucker, that was the hill I was willing to die on beforehand." But I love this idea that it's not exactly that, but it's this. I'll talk to the people who haven't fully crossed, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like, maybe if she hadn't interfered, Sawyer would have lost more than just his leg.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You're not dying, okay?" And he's like, "Okay."
Honestly, like I want to have a different theory, but I really don't. Like I really think I think it's some type of resurrection for sure, especially if there's been so much talk about what second signet is. It's probably got to be something that's going to have to save the day. What's going to save the day more than restoration and resurrection?
And also like you said, like what does Violet need? Like she needs her people.
Yes.
So
well, Violet also has her EDS. So when Rebecca Yarros says it's obvious, what does Violet need? Well, the one thing that she thought at the start of all this that set her back You know, maybe she doesn't need it now. She's found a way around it, but it also could tie in. What did she need? She needed to cure that somehow, a restoration.
Or even like mending, or like I've heard some people throw around mender is definitely something that she is at her core and needs for sure.
Yeah.
On our show, we have a running joke about Papa Sorrengail's mysterious research. So, what do you think the significance of Papa Sorrengail's research is? And I'll give a quick TLDR because I can't not talk about it here. We know that originally Papa Sorrengail was writing a book about Feathertails and researching the Second Crowlin Uprising, but he never finished his research on the Second Crowlin Uprising, which happened 200 years ago. Then, when Varish pointed out that it was ironic that Papa Sorrengail was writing a book on Feathertails, who hadn't been seen in hundreds of years, then his daughter bonded with one, and Darna notably is silent when Violet asks if it is indeed a coincidence.
What do you all think is in Papa Sorrengail's research?
I think that he knew how to cure Venin.
God, I fucking hope so.
I hope so too. But because I think that Indarna is the key to, right? I mean, it's kind of hinted at.
So Lexi pointed this out when we were deep diving. I think it was the final episode, right, Lex, of Iron Flame.
Oh, I don't remember.
When Indarna, it was either the penultimate or the final, and Indarna breathes fire on that one Venin and then rips his head off with her teeth and yum, 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 eats it. But his head is roasting, which means
it's smoking.
He was smoking. It was impacted by the fire. But we know from the Battle of Resin that whenever Terran breathed fire on the Venin, it was like, it didn't fucking work. So I think I'm willing to die on this hill with you, Lex, that the 7th Dragon Den fire affects Venin.
Yeah.
That's canon to me. Like, it's
is
right there.
Yeah. It just has not
in the text.
And so I feel like maybe like Papa Sorrengail figured out a way to harness like something from those dragons to create a cure of some kind.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely think he figured out, because there is a small overlap between Indarna and Papa Sorrengail being alive. I absolutely think that there's some kind of, he figured out that Indarna is not a normal dragon.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a hill I'm willing to die on. That's a mound. A small mound. I'd be willing to radically faint on.
But also, like, maybe something happened when, you know, he was researching and he's figuring all of this stuff out and they wanted to stop him.
Do you think that Papa Sorrengail actually died from, I'll say, natural causes or his own heart failure, or do you think he was offed by someone else?
I think he was off. Maybe they tried to attack him and Lilith when she was pregnant with Violet. And then he, like, was like, I have the cure, and saved Violet. But that's why she still has the silver hair, like the rest of the Venin.
Oh my goodness!
I think there is definitely a Venin connection. I think that Lilith was also attacked by Venin.
Yeah. Yes. And then he saved her.
About Papa Sorrengail doing that, but yeah, I think about like who could have made him go away was, I think, that Markham and Daddy Atos.
See, I'm leaning Daddy Atos. I think that's an asshole.
Yeah, I see that too. I think
Markham.
I think maybe the Venom tried to attack his family, but I definitely feel like it was one of, like, someone within the Empyrean that was, like, trying to attack him.
So many, like, Harry Potter, which I've never thought of that until now. We do think so with all the flying around, but I like the idea that the way that Harry was branded with a scar in the events prior, there's things about whether it's her hair or her EDS. There's other things that were branded by something that happened before her birth that resulted in the father's death. I'm cooking. We're cooking.
Well, I don't want to interrupt your cooking here, but next question. So we know that Violet has this mysterious half silver hair, which Lilith blames comes from a sickness that she had while she was pregnant. And as we're all talking here, there are a lot of theories out there that Venin were involved in this supposed, I'll say, quote unquote, sickness. So why do you think her hair is silver? I know we were literally just kind of talking about that here, but
what do you think happened when Lilith was pregnant, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of Venin attack and Papa Sorrengail intervened to try and save her. And I don't know, I guess maybe that's why he was like, you have to keep her in the library to keep her safe.
I got
he knew
chills.
something.
I know. God, Khaya really is that girl.
He knew what was happening. I don't know.
You are a
And
Ravenclaw.
and he left the breadcrumbs for Violet so
To
that
find-
she can
yeah.
learn the truth.
Yeah, and the
About
book.
herself.
Yeah,
Yes!
and the book
Oh
about
my gosh,
Venin.
are
Yeah.
you all having me on like the part Venin train now? My goodness gracious.
He's like, oh yeah, this is mythology.
Well, there is that popular theory now that Papa Sorrengail apparently wrote the Fables of the Baron, but I can't get on it because there have been other fables being shared, like for instance in Rhiannon's village and stuff like that. But he wrote it for Violet.
He might have because
I do think
it's the only
that.
copy that exists.
I think that it is still a collection of folklore. And remember how their family literally traveled for the military all throughout their lives.
Yeah.
And so I think he was collecting this folklore,
Oh,
and then he
from
put it
different
all,
ones.
and he wrote the Fable of the Barons to have all of these stories all in one place.
What if Zaden's mom has to come into this picture? And like, what if she was that Venin? What if she tried to attack Violet? I feel like usually in these stories, there is something that is connecting. Well, we have the connection with Zaden's mother and with Violet's mother. But like with Zaden, I don't know, with the mom, I feel like something... Whoever attacked her, I feel like it was a proper noun person, someone that we know.
So what I'm thinking is Lilith, when she was out and about on a mission, she was partially drained. Like, you know how Dane is drained at the end of Iron Flame by Jack fucking Barlow? Lilith was partially drained while she was pregnant. That's why Violet's half hair is never able to have color in it because Venin drained the color from the land. So I wonder if that's what happened. But then there's also the poison tip dagger that some people think that's what Lilith was stabbed with. And that's why she was sick, quote unquote, just like Violet was at the end of Fourth Wing. So I 1000% think that there is something that happened with Lilith when she was pregnant with Violet that involved a Venin.
You know, I'm really getting bad foul play from Mr. Dane Ados' father. He already has a track record of supposed to being on their betraying them in a way. And I feel like that would have started when you have these academy type of situations. There was always what happened at the academy when the parents were of that age. And there's always that. I mean, who knows? Ados' dad, what relationship does he have? How does he, I mean, we know how he feels about Violet. How does he feel about the Sorrengails in general?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna build off your cooking real quick. So what if him and Lilith had some kind of like bad blood or whatever in school? Like maybe Lilith didn't even know. Maybe he was jealous.
Maybe he was in love with Lilith.
Maybe he was in love with Lilith. Oh my God. And then he became her aide to get closer to her, then to betray her in some way because
Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah,
playing the
yeah.
long
Yes,
fucking
yes,
game.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And
I
that's
see
why
that
he
for
killed
sure.
Papa Sorrengail because he was in love with Lilith.
Yes, like Snape.
I think that's a fun theory.
Snape and Lily. Snape and Lily. Damn.
See, I think that Daddy Atos, I think he is definitely the bad news bears because we also know, we do think that he is associated with the Venin at Bisgaiath. I personally don't think that he is involved with the Venin beyond the borders, but there are Venin within Bisgaiath, and he was responsible for planting the Venin luring box at Resin to set Zaden and all of them up.
Yeah.
And one of the assassins that he sent after Violet had red-rimmed eyes. So that first year had to have been a Venin too.
Yeah.
So we definitely think that he is connected to at least the Bisgaiath Venin. But I don't
We also think
he,
Varish was a Venin.
Yes,
And
we
I
also
just
think
read
that
the part
Varish was
of
a
Iron
Venin.
Flame this morning where he's like, let me introduce you to the Vice Commandant who we brought on. Like, and I think he was in charge of bringing on Varish so that he had eyes on the ground, for lack of a better term, from a active Venin.
And they were all having Nolan like repair Jack Barlow.
Fuck.
Like what? Like
Yeah.
Nolan is definitely not making it out of Onyx Storm. Like, Zaden has to kill him,
so.
right? Zaden has to kill Nolan.
I kind of feel bad for him because I feel like he was forced into doing it.
Oh, absolutely. However, I don't feel bad enough for him to want him to live.
So here's what I think. Nicole's going off about how he was in love with her and things like that. I think he is very power hungry. Not power hungry in the way of becoming a Venin, like I'll say Jack is, but power hungry in wanting more political status.
He's the political opponent.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yet he is not personally strong enough between his signet and his dragon to rise to the ranks of Sorengale and Melgren. And so I think that he is kind of attaching himself like with the King Tari, and like he really kind of cozied up with Sorengale and found kind of weaseled his way in with all of that and has always been her aide, but he's always wanted more for himself. And she's never seen him as anything more than just her aide. And so he had his own agenda. And so he's been, doing his own thing lately in an attempt to get more political gain.
Fuck yeah. But I don't think he is fully Venin. And I think you said this earlier, Lex, because we haven't been close enough to him to see a red rim around his eyes. But if he was, let's say, like Zaden's level of Venin, he would be an initiate, which means he'd be the lowest level of Venin. And he seems too power hungry for that.
Yeah.
So, and he can't be higher because he doesn't have the distended vein. So I think he's in charge of the, again, I'm going to say boots on the ground Venin in Navarre. Well, while we're talking about the Atos family, I do have a quick question. We have on the show a nickname for our guy, Dane Atos, and that is God fucking damn it, Dane. So we have to ask.
In Fourth Wing too, by the way.
It was made
in Fourth Wing. We were very mindful about every single time he cupped Violet's face, which happened 9 times, and he certainly seemed like a bad guy. And of course, then everything happened at the end of part 1 of Iron Flame, and when Nicole and I are having to like kind of rewrite our narratives about him. So, question for you, Dane. Yay or nay? Do you think he's had his redemption arc?
I think yay. I think that he has. I think that he understands more fully now. Like, he's kind of like woken up a little in the same way that like Violet has. Like, literally this entire world is like been their whole lives. They grew up together and they like learned all the same things pretty much. And now like, everything that they know to be true is a lie. And he's like, I feel like accepted that pretty easily. Like he's kind of just been like, wait, really? Okay, well, I'm leaving with you guys.
Yeah.
So I think that he is not gonna, have any trouble continuing to do that, or like, even if like the more crazy things come out about his dad, which I'm sure it will, I think that he'll be working to fight against his father.
What if he kills his father?
I could see it, because I could totally see a situation where it's like he tried to kill the mom, and then it's like he failed, but now he's trying to kill the daughter, and he's like, no, Dad. Like, he's trying to take out the Sorengales. In my head, this is all true. I'm not accepting it. It's all true. He's also been in love with her because he's a weirdo. Like, that's always how it goes. Like, they're always in love. I'm also getting like Lucius Malfoy vibes. I really think I'm Nancy Drew.
I'm so with you on the he was in love.
You want to see Harry Potter so bad.
I will be with you on that, Gabriel.
I just feel like
hold on. Do we want to make a bet out of this? So also Nicole and I make bets. So we had a lot of bets in the lead up to Iron Flame, and now we have quite a few bets in the lead up to Onyx Storm. And would you all like to be included in one of our bets here?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
That was such a question mark. Okay.
I am personally in the camp that he was not in love with Lilith, and he is just a politically power hungry guy.
Okay. Khaya, where do you stand?
I think I'm with Lexi.
Clarification. If he was in love with her in school, but is no longer in love with her, I still think that goes in Gabriel and I's favor.
because here's the thing.
If being in love with her is involved in any of his motives, how about that?
Yeah.
I accept.
Yes, that's my theory. That's my theory, that it's like he was in love with her. He was jealous of the father. That's usually how it goes. I know how these men work. He was like, he was jealous down, and he was also jealous of her because like she was like, you were her aide. Like she kind of was like the president, and you were like who are you? My only thing is like such an interesting tidbits of details. Like this is a long shot. Be prepared for some of these villains to not really be the villain.
Oh, talk that out.
Because if I'm going with in love with her, we thought Snape was one way, and not only he was really in love with Harry's mother, and there was a lot of bitterness there. There was a lot that could be explained that we thought could not be explained. Ados, though, I feel like I was confused because they had so many bad guys on that side. They had Varish, they had him, and it's always like, what's his function? Who's going to go first? Who's the bigger threat? Who's the biggest threat out of this political landscape? And it does feel like it is Ados, but the fact that he has to grow in that power, usually I feel like, I don't know.
See, I think Ados thinks he's the big bad.
Yes.
But in actuality, he's
Right.
not. He's
Right.
not. And he'll either be offed by his own son or he'll be offed by those. Like, for instance, I have a crack theory that I think that there's going to be some big, like, Atos has been bad this entire time. And, like, he'll step out of the shadows with the Venin, and then the Venin will literally be like, you have finished your
You've served your purpose.
Goodbye. And they'll kill him just because he's done for. But for our bet, though, I agree that there is some kind of in-love motivation from Atos' side, whether it is present or past unrequited love. And for that, okay, if Lexi and Khaya win, I was going to say, like, has to wear a shirt of the winner's choosing in a social media video where we collab and you guys do it together, or we have to do it together.
Okay.
Penultimate question before we get into rapid fire theories. Zaden. We need to talk about Zaden because book did not end so well for our guy, and we would be remiss if we did not ask you two, who know this character extremely well. What do you think is going to happen to Zaden? Our sweet boy, not sweet, our asshole of a boy in Onyx Storm.
Masculine, underline.
Okay, so I feel like it depends on when we start Onyx Storm. Is like, does Zaden have the pass just to be like, is it okay that he is a Venin? Like, is life going on business as usual with this unpleasantness of Venin, or has life come to a standstill for our main characters because of this? So we don't really know. If it's the latter, like, things can't go on until that gets, like, solved or something. I mean, I would say Zaden, he was already going back and forth between Samara. So I feel like the same structure can't happen again. But I do see him having to do this alone. But I don't know with a POV that is not Zaden. Because I feel like there's lots of trials coming for him. They're going to test him in many ways. I'm so afraid Zaden is going to be like mewling, shivering, dying, like, not the Shadow Daddy, and she's gonna have to, like, really take control more than she usually finds a way to save herself, but this time around, like, she's gonna have to really save him.
I think that Zaden is gonna get worse, and he's gonna realize that there's no saving him, and so he's gonna, like, try and sacrifice himself and die. And that's why I think that her signet is resurrection, because I think she's going to bring him back, but he won't be Venin anymore. He'll just be himself. Oh. That's what I think.
The emotions that just went through Gabriel.
I think that's when it's, like, fully going to manifest, because it's like that's what she needs, is, like, to save him. And then it's just going to be like, whew.
So follow-up question to that. We were previously talking about how Indarna might be the key to curing him, or Papa Sorngale's research. So I'll say this. I was pretty convinced that he was not going to be cured in Onyx Storm. And the more I've been thinking about it, I'm wondering if he will get cured in Onyx Storm. And towards the end of it. But I agree, Khaya, that he will get worse first.
Yes.
And I love that idea, though, about, like, how it's her signet that really comes in, like, in the last moment, so to speak, there. And I think that he is going to be cured toward the end of Onyx Storm.
I think he's going to stay
for like a couple more books.
I think at least until end. I'll say 11 o'clock hour of book 4. That's where I'm leaning. I think, like, it'll be that more style. I do think that this shit's about to get bad news bears for multiple reasons, because Rebecca plots her books in a W, but she also plots her series in a W. And we know, based off of where we are in the W, that we're about to just do a nosedive into, like, things are about to get terrible. So I do think that that's about to happen, or we're about to end on the cliffhanger that is going to lead to that.
Wait, so each book is a point in the W?
Yes.
So right now we're, like, at the middle peak, and we're about to go
nosedive. Yep.
Because the good thing is they just, saved Biscayeth. And
yeah.
That's the uptake. For those who don't know what a W is, it is the first point is the first trigger. Then we go down to the first turning point. We're about to hit the second trigger. We go down to the second turning point, resolution. So book 5 will be resolution. Next book will be second turning point. We're right now in second trigger.
So I feel like, with Twilight, there was 4 books, and there was a second book. The second book was a slower book. Edward wasn't there, and there was more stuff going on with Jacob. And in this one, in our Iron Flame, while a lot happened, It is also a longer book that does feel like that new moon energy that we're going to world build. We are going to honestly conquer their issues. That's why for the people who are like, why are they arguing the whole book? I think it's because hopefully those issues have been conquered.
I agree.
That's what I'm thinking. And I think that is why Violet it's not that big of a deal to her that he's a Venin. I mean, obviously, she wants to cure him and things like that. But at the end of Iron Flame, there was a lot of questions about why she's sleeping next to him. And
her love is
she still trusts him. Yeah. And then we saw in the a Cosmopolitan excerpt that she's like, oh, he's still my Zaden. Like she still has I think exactly what you're saying, Gabriel, is like they kind of figured out those initial issues between the two of them. And there was even one line where he said something like, we have to be able to weather this storm together. And so I think that's where they were figuring out how to weather the storm in Iron Flame. And now, hey, Onyx Storm, they're weathering the storm now as a unit. All right, so last question before we get into our rapid fire theories. As much as we want everyone to live happily ever after, except Jack fucking Barlow, we know that's not going to happen. So who do you think will die this book?
Who is the heir to the throne right now?
Halden.
He gonna die.
I think King Tari is going to die. We know that we're going to learn a lot more about the royal family in this book, and from an interview that Rebecca did. And so I don't think that King Tari is going to make it out alive, or there's also that Pormelian queen, and then Takaris is her heir, and then Serena is his heir. So I think that either Takaris or the queen are going to die. There is going to be some Pormelian royalty.
And then
dying.
Serena will be in power. I kind of love that.
I love that.
Yeah. Yes. She would be a great queen.
I think so too.
I definitely think Arik is going to end up as king at the end of the day. I think he is
100%.
person who I'm like, he's safe in this series.
I agree.
Cameron.
Okay, I have a theory that I'm so afraid to even introduce, but I have to bring it up.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Is there going to be another boy? Because I'm afraid there's going to be another boy this book who's going to cause problems, and I think she's going to sleep with them and I'll die.
Whoa, I think whoa.
I was going to say I definitely think one of her exes is going to
her ex is definitely coming back.
I need Venin,
Cam's brother, Arik's brother.
I had for the fans who want to know, so embarrassed. I had a nightmare 2 weeks ago that was a storyline. I woke up and I said, I'm not going to be okay if this is the situation. And I didn't think that I was that connected to it. Like, do whatever you want. And ACOTAR, I've been okay. Lucian sometimes gets love, sometimes he doesn't. And this one I was like, I see it happening. I see it just being like, oh, Zaden's still going to be endgame, but he is kind of Venin. So let's just cause some. I can picture her causing just so many problems for that relationship. I mean, because
Khaya is distraught.
No. I don't think that's happening. I think that her ex is going to come back.
Theory, Khaya?
No, I think he's going to come back.
Okay,
for sure,
good.
He's going to come back, and he's going to try and cause problems. But I don't think that she's going to sleep with him. I think she's going to be so uninterested.
Where do you think Zaden's mom is? Or who do you think she is?
I really think she's either an assassin. I think a dangerous woman. I think she's a dangerous woman. I think there's a reason why she's not grooming her son to be king. In the text, he said, Mom, not going there. I read it as something heartbreaking.
First of all, really quick, going back to the X point. In Iron Flame, she says to Arik, when he tells her that he knows about the Venin, she was like, your brother knows? And he was like, yeah. Basically, what is he doing about it? And he was like, well, I'm here, aren't I? And she was like, okay, then. Well, that's it. He knows, and he just does not care. So I think he's going to come back and try and start some shit, but I don't think that she's really going to care, and she's going to tell him to fuck off. For who I think is going to die, I think it's going to be Imogen or Jacinia or someone else that's close to her. I mean, I hope not. I would love for all of them to survive. But as far as Zaden's mom, I think that she is hiding out in the Isle Kingdom somewhere and is
my girl,
plotting.
yes!
I think she's plotting to come back to stop the Venin, but she was I don't know. I think she was just maybe she didn't agree with how they handled things. So she took a step back and she's like, no, I'm going to figure this out how it needs to, we need to take time and actually figure out how to fight this.
I think she is loyal to Navarre, and she is in Kaldir, and she is associated with King Tari and part of his court.
I think that's fun. I think that's fun.
You know what? I know we've already made a bet on this, but I am absolutely convinced that is a hill I'm willing to die on, that she is loyal to Navarre and it was a marriage contract, and she did not agree with Finn Ryerson and the Tyrandor belief that about the Venin and how they should help them and things like that. And so then there was a lot of tension with all of that, and then she went back to Navarre, and that's another reason why Zaden doesn't want to talk about her. I actually have a question for you, Gabriel, because you had mentioned, Zaden's POV and things like that. And I do think that from Teddy Hamilton, he has hinted that there is going to be more Zaden POVs in the audiobook, which means more Zaden POVs in the book itself. Gabriel, can you share any insights into that, or just nothing?
I mean, I can't confirm nor deny.
Okay.
But I do love the narrations when they come up. It gives me a whole section that's dedicated to what's going on in his world. And I would love, there are some plot lines that I feel like Zaden should have the narration for to have things that are very, very personal to him. Because I feel like we need that. It's nerve-wracking. Khaya has a big job with this narration, and she does it a really great job. And so whenever I get my little 20 minutes or 15 minutes, like I really try to give it to y'all.
Gabriel, when we were talking about the POVs and whatnot in narration, are you or have you had the chance to do the bonus episodes? Not episodes, but the bonus chapters. Yeah, the bonus chapters for Zaden.
I have not. I'll put this out there. I think it would be great if Graphic and Ms. Jaros found a way to compile those, to get them all together, because people really do want those, and they are. I want those. I would love for those to exist in the audio.
I want you to talk about Dane.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like she's kissing her cousin.
Well, I think Scott, our director, had told us that they're going to release Fourth Wing and Iron Flame as kind of like an audio box set, so you can get both of them. So maybe we can just ask and see if we can add those extra chapters, because I feel like people are going to want to purchase it just because like you're getting the full pack or whatever of the audiobooks. Like instead of like it being like part 1, part 2, it'll just be like the 2 books, I think.
I also want to say, just like the readers, they want it all to remain as is, and that is a testament to how much the listeners and the readers are following along. That makes our job. It's just another thing in the booth to remind you, like, they are going to pay attention to everything. And then it's a testament to Miss Yaro's writing, like, graphic adaptation, we're going to change some things. If it was with a movie, y'all would get an hour and a half. We didn't. So it's like, chill. But I never get frustrated when I see those comments, because it means that they want every word in there. And that is a testament to the story.
Well, and it also just goes to show that as this series does get transformed into a TV show, into more graphic audios, like it is a good reminder for us readers that, like any new adaptation, there are going to be changes. And it's to, I'll say, almost release that grip that we have, the iron grip that we have on the original story, and really enjoy the ride of these new adaptations that are created by minds who truly want to do the story as much justice as possible.
Yeah. Well, and part of the thing that I think about is you are tuning in for a new experience too. And so, like, for instance, when we often get asked by people about, like, should I do the graphic audio or should I do the audiobook? And so it's like, if you want a new experience, absolutely 100% the graphic audio. If you are literally tuning in to like parse through every single word, with the Easter eggs and things like that, then probably the audiobook in that way. But so many people are like, wait, I do want a new experience, because they are already familiar with the story like they are. And so it's just so cool how this adaptation is able to give a new experience. And I'm also really excited for the TV show as well. And just like also like releasing those expectations.
Well, and I'll throw this in for you too. If you ever want just like the biggest confidence boost, go into, so we have a video that I did recently about audiobooks, and specifically about Fourth Wing and Iron Flame rereads before going into Onyx Storm. And the amount of comments, I would say 70% of the comments are praising the graphic audio and how much they enjoy it and how lovely it is and what a new experience and all that stuff. And that is truly a testament to you two for how much you have immersed yourselves in this story. And it's just, you guys have just done such a fucking phenomenal job.
Thank
Congratulations.
you so much.
Seriously. Yeah.
I also think that the graphic audios are really great to get people into reading because, like,
Yes.
like my sister, she loves them. She's not really ever been a big reader. Now she's like, she listened to Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, but my mom also listened to the audiobooks. And I called her one time, and she goes, "What do you want? I'm listening to Zaden." She was like, "Bye, I have to go. I'm listening to Zaden." And she hung up on me because she wanted to listen to Gabriel. It's like,
Gabriel's just beaming over here.
yeah.
Like my family, by the way, like any tiny little compliment or anything that they can even see, they go so crazy. They get so excited. My oldest sister, Nastasia, she's an actress, but she works in Atlanta, but she also does like, she's an esthetician. And she had a client who she had mentioned the books to. And she was like, they're like, yeah, we love Fourth Wing. She's like, well, my brother Zaden in the graphic audio. And she says they flipped, but then they're like, they get that look in their eye and they're like, your brother has a gorgeous. And she goes, now. She goes, now.
Stop right there.
That's exactly how she sounds. Like she goes, no, brother, stop.
Well, to round out this episode, you guys I could talk to you forever. You're fantastic.
Sorry, we keep getting off track.
No, I love it. Oh my
no,
God. I
no
love
worries.
it. Let's do some rapid fire theories. And we sourced this from our Instagram followers. And these are yay or nay. Like, I ship this theory. I do not ship this theory. All right. This is from many, many people. Violet is part dragon.
Nay.
No.
Nay.
Nay, excuse me. Nay.
Nay, but I do believe she is infused with another entity.
Okay, so Taylor.Linker asks, Violet is part Venin.
Yay.
Yay.
I don't like to call it part Venin, but there is Venin something coursing through her veins.
I'm going to go nay, but there is, again, like some kind of influence. Now, Violet's father is not her true father. So Papa Sorengale is not Violet's biological father.
Yay.
Nay.
Nay.
Sorry, Gabriel. Nay. All right. Brennan is not trustworthy.
Nay.
Nay.
Or as my daughter would say,
I was like,
sorry,
nay.
we're practicing noises.
You going nay? There's something sus with Brennan, but I don't think he knows actively. So I'm also going nay.
Do you think that he is inadvertently not trustworthy, though?
You know what? Yay. I always felt like with Brennan, we didn't get the payoff that we should have gotten of a brother coming back from the dead.
Because he also has that rune on his palm, right? And actually, here, a quick question for the group. Is Naolin dead or is he still alive? Taryn's previous writer.
He is definitely still alive.
I think
and
he's still alive, yeah.
I think he's Venin.
Okay, I don't know, but
Yeah,
I'm just
I
like,
think so
I'm just
too.
here for all that. I'm like,
So I think that as he was trying to resurrect Brennan, who I think they were together, they were
He
partners.
turned Venin to try and
turned-
save him.
Yeah.
And I think that
It
there's
cost him
something-
everything.
It
Yeah.
cost him everything, which is why I also think Lyra is Venin as well, but that's a whole other thing. But there's the rune on Brennan's palm, and we know wyverns have the onyx rune like within them. Now we don't know how complex this rune is on Brennan's palm. I don't think that means Brennan's a wyvern,
Right,
honestly,
right. But
not-
it means that he
he's
was
not-
like made by a Venin.
which means that he has the hive mind, which means that he basically, whoever made the rune or controlled him, has access to what he knows. Which that is why I think he does not know, because I don't think he's aware of
I'm switching.
Yeah.
I'm switching.
For instance,
I'm switching.
okay, no, hold on. Rebuttal here, rebuttal. Because I think that if the Venin had somehow known from such a hive mind, they would have known that Orisha got wards up. And they had like their big attack on Orisha, or they were going to attack, and they couldn't get through because of the wards.
But no, hold on. I rebuttal your rebuttal, because this is us with Onyx Storm or anything. Period. We're just
Nicole's getting her pointy finger out.
like each other. Because they got the words up with 6 dragons. And if General Daramore is indeed the person who was against the first 6, and that is
Which
the
he
Sage
definitely,
General,
yeah,
then
definitely.
he would think, aha, they didn't get the full wards up, so we can still attack. Da, 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 da. And then the wyverns start falling. He's like, well, fuck.
All right, let's move on to another popular one. I think we already touched on this. The 7th Dragon Den is in the Isle Kingdoms.
Yay.
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 I say yay too, but I don't think that they have bonded with anyone.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. I think the 7th Dragon Den is, I'll say, anti-human bonding. And that is why it was only the first 6 who bonded with the 6 dragons. And the 7th Dragon Den was like, I don't want to do that. And that is one of the reasons why they left.
But it says the first 6 and the 1 combined.
But that was misleading information on purpose.
But was it though?
Yes, because Papa Sorrengail figured out that Warwick didn't want them to have that information. So there's more information on Warwick and his journal, yes.
I don't know. I think that they are bonded. At least
so
some
too.
of them. And I think maybe like we're going to see some other writers who've been unbonded thus far, like be able to bond.
Oh.
I think it would have been more interesting if Sawyer was one of those because he was like a second year, first year, essentially.
Yeah.
But he did end up bonding. But I don't know, maybe because there's so many more this year. There's so many more writers that were not bonded. So I think that we'll see a lot more. I think it would be so cool if there were some flyers who were able to bond dragons too. So like how Violet has 2, maybe they get to have a griffin and a dragon. That would be sick.
From Emily Kadamson, we will get dual narration throughout the book. So the like going back and forth between Zaden and Violet.
I would go yay.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think it will be 3/4 Violet, 1/4 Zaden.
That makes sense
I'm
to
leaning
me.
with you, Lex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever that equals out to with the dual narration.
I think book 4 will be more 60-40 though.
I can
Like
see
I think
that
it's
as
gonna be
well.
closer to half and half. Like I think book 4 is where we're really gonna get that because I don't think Zaden and Violet are gonna be in the same place in book 4. But that's a whole
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I
right.
mean, I get that impression even in this one. So it could happen in 4.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
when you want a character to go through it, you got to isolate them somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like Zaden is he's about to go through some lonesome, like you were saying earlier. And I feel like he is just going to continue to isolate himself more and more, like he has been from the get-go, but it's just going to be on a whole new level. From Beccaslavia, the Sorrengail siblings will mirror the 3 brothers' story from the fables. So the one who commanded the sky, etc., etc. One pulled from the ground.
I'm going to say nay, but I do think that the 3 brothers story will be represented with Violet serving as the one who commanded the sky, but not among the 3 Sorrengail siblings.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to say nay, but I think that is a really interesting idea.
Yeah, that really is. Same thing over here.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm also going nay is because one of the siblings bonded with a griffin. Now, if Mira does get with Serena, she doesn't bond with the griffin.
Maybe
but
she is too.
she's bonding, like she's bonding in that way.
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
Griffin
True.
flyers. So I'm changing my answer. I'm going yay. So for instance, the 3 brothers series, in case you forgot, it is the one who commanded the sky who bonded a dragon. There's the one who bonded a griffin, and then the jealous brother who basically pulled from the source, became Venin, and then the one who commands the sky vanquishes the jealous 3rd brother. So if the jealous 3rd brother is in some way connected to the Venin, that would be represented in Brennan. And if he is connected with Naolin still in that way, boom goes dynamite. So I'm going yay.
All right. From Alyssa Diane, if Taryn dies, Violet will live because of Andarna.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. Yep. I will also say if Taryn dies, then Zaden would live because Sigale would also be gone, but he's a Venin, so he's not as
Jack, yeah.
yeah, where he has that.
Wow.
Now he would have to keep pulling from the source, and that would not lead to good things for him. But
From S Pro 13, will Auric be a distance wielder?
Yay.
Yay.
I think so.
Yay, absolutely.
All right, many people have asked us this question: are we finally going to the Isle Kingdoms?
Yay.
Yay.
Yay, definitely.
From at Book Corner Haven, Jack Barlow finally dies let me call him by his full name. Jack fucking Barlow finally dies in Onyx Storm.
Nay.
I want him to die.
I hope he does.
I hope so. So I'm gonna say yay. Wishful thinking.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Khaya. Yay, wishful thinking.
I think if we've learned anything from Rebecca, wishful thinking does not work out for us in our favor. So I think I'm going to go nay. But I think he
Right.
will die eventually. I don't think he's making it out of the series alive. There's no way.
I'm saying nay, but he does interest me as a character because the fact that she has not done away with him yet, and she had the opportunity to, maybe he's going to be the person he's already telling Zaden about the Venin and what it's like to be that. But I feel like if he's around still and not dead, and they brought him back, like they could have showed that somewhere else. Like I have seen other characters get redeemed.
You think Jack
There's
fucking
no way he's getting
Sorry.
redeemed.
Hold on, I need this on the record.
Right.
Gabriel.
I think Jack Barlow is like, I'm trying to think of an equivalent of how I've seen him where I'm like, dang, like he's still around. And when bad people are still around for a while, it's like, okay, I'm sure there's some annoying person you're going to be paired up with, and like y'all are going to be like together later on.
All right, this is a this or that. Papa Sorrengail was killed by Navarian leadership, or he was killed by Venin scribes.
Navarian leadership.
Navarian leadership.
Navarian leadership.
Me too. Yep, Navarian leadership. Although I do love the idea of Venin scribes. Or I guess technically if it's Professor Markham or Daddy, it could be both.
True.
I think, that's true.
Wait a second,
Yeah.
when did Daddy die?
1 year before Violet entered the
Okay.
Writer's Quadrant.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
But
last one.
hold on. But his heart started failing after Brennan passed away, and the Sorrengail family moved to Bisgayeth, where their mom was stationed there right after the war. So So Papa Sorrengail's heart started failing him right when they went to Bisgayeth, and that is, I think, when he really started his research too.
Final rapid fire. Zaden will pull an Edward Cullen and leave.
Yay.
I feel like him being away in Samara already takes away the impact of that distance. However, I do think it's a good conceit to use. I do think he needs to go. He's independent. His biggest Achilles heel weakness when it comes to her is thinking that he's too dangerous, too scary for her, and always wanting to conquer that demon
To retreat,
without
to
to
run.
retreat.
Yeah.
It's his biggest flaw.
I'm also going yay.
I'm going to go nay. And I think that he is going to, I'll say, sacrifice his powers and things, and he will willingly take the serum to protect Violet from him.
Question. Do you know when your first recording is for Onyx Storm, part 1?
We don't know. I think it might be starting next month sometime.
I feel like
yeah, 'cause
part
timing-wise,
one comes out in
yeah,
April.
it has to start in February.
I would love real quick. Can we pause? Can you guys plug all of your things? Where can people find you? Where can they support you?
So you can find me at Khaya Fraites on Instagram, TikTok, and X, and also at KhayaFraites.com.
I also do have a cameo, Gabriel Michael, and the name is Mercury Boy Wonder. I think it's like the same as my TikTok handle as well. But yeah, I have a website as well, GabrielMichael.com. I'm an actor, a voice actor, engineer as well. And I also do consultations with people and getting them involved in voiceover. It's very, very, very important to me.
Yes, and he's fucking phenomenal at it. I haven't done one with you. Thank you both so much for being here. This was so fun, and we hope you all enjoyed your read of Onyx Storm this evening.
As we wrap up this episode, Nicole and I wanted to share a few parting words with you. It is the eve of Onyx Storm release, and whenever you are going to be starting your Onyx Storm read and/or listen, we just wanted to share a few last thoughts before we all say goodbye.
We know that when we go into a book that we wait a long time for, and of course theorize as much as Lexi and I do, and you all as well, we can go into said book with certain expectations. But rather than going into tonight, tomorrow, whenever the book arrives in your hands and you get to finally divulge into it with believing that it has to be a certain way or a theory must go right this way, we really want to encourage every reader to look at it instead this way. The reason we fell in love with the first book, Fourth Wing, of this series is because Rebecca took us on a journey. And we enjoyed the ride because of the story she wove for us with no expectations. And if Iron Flame has taught us anything, this series is in really good hands. She knows exactly where she wants it to land, and it's up to us to allow her to take us to that landing spot, which might be different than we initially wanted or thought or even theorized. But we ask you all to trust this incredible author with the story she is telling.
In fact, I'll even say it's fun to have something be completely unexpected. And as much as we love to predict and theorize, like Nicole was saying here, it really is so much fun to see these plot twists that you might not have seen coming, or a completely new kind of magic, or a seventh dragon den, be introduced that never would have been on our bingo cards. Well, we did think Andarna was royal, but that's different.
Are we going to get our hearts ripped out in Onyx Storm? Yes, most likely, probably. It is the third installment of a 5-book series. This book is not going to have a happy ending. We really want to encourage everyone to go into that with that expectation. And we strongly encourage everyone else to release the expectations that we might have built up. And just like we did with Fourth Wing, allow this author to take us on this journey. Lexi and I have a rule when we read books with this much buildup for the first time. We read the book as passenger princesses, basically. We read it as fans of the lore and the series and the characters rather than the deep dive podcast that we are. So we encourage you all. Let's all be passenger princesses tonight. No matter how you're getting your book, we hope, so hope that you enjoy the crap out of this experience.
I know we will. I don't even care what happens in the book. I know I am going to have such a good time. And
Zaden could literally look Violet in the eyes and say, I'm pulling an Edward Cullen and leave, and I would probably still love this book.
Yes, and we know a lot of you have actually been asking. So right after the midnight release party that Nicole and I are going to be going to, we are so excited. We have a hotel for the next 2 days, and so we are going to hole ourselves up there. I am not going to be with the children because I learned my lesson from Iron Flame that it took me several days to read it. So we are so excited to do that. We are also going to be dark on social media. Once when we do come back, when we do start talking about Onyx Storm on social, we are going to include the most obnoxious spoiler warnings for everyone who has not finished the book yet.
But first, before we say goodbye, we have to say instead a huge welcome to our newest members of the Iron Squad.
Welcome to Kristen, Allie G, Simone O, Holly R, Mandy J, Kelly G, Sienna B, Molly M, Bailey, Bree,
Jessica S, Sammy C, Briley K, Chelsea C, Shannon, Ashley M, Riri, Amaya, Michelle B, Ricky, Caitlin K, Amaria, Lori S, Hannah W, Sarah Z, Morgan E, Charlemagne M, Mary L, Patrice D,
Annika G, Ellen M, Nicole S, Liz T, Bianca A, Sharisa K, Javanti C, Liz H, Lexi, Lindy, Adrian H, Stone K, Raquel M,
Nora K, Nora Bell, Lexi L, Kayla W, Christy M, Paige N, and last but not least, Estefana. Holy gods! Welcome!
We are so excited to have you part of our Iron Squad, and really and truly, thank you so much for being part of this community. It means the absolute world to us, and we love having you here. And hey, if you're like, I want my name read out on the podcast too, and showered with all the love in the world, be sure to join the Fantasy Fan Club.
Thank you, as always, to our executive producer, Hayden, aka our sanity manager. We flippin' love ya. He's probably going to be working a little overtime on the sanity managing this week, I'm assuming.
And hey, if you're not following us on Instagram and /our TikTok, what are you doing? Give us a follow at Fantasy Fangirls Pod. We have so much Empyrean content.
Also, do not forget to rate and review the podcast. It takes 2 seconds to hit that 5-star rating. Write a little love note in the review section. And it's not only good for this show, because it helps us a lot, but also for any show you listen to on the reg. And last but not least, friends, share this episode with your fellow awaiting Onyx Storm people. We will see you on the other side.
I'm so excited! Bye!